These Indians don't want you to have babies because life sucks. A growing tribe of child-free proponents believes that children shouldn't be made to suffer life, and that this is the best way to ease the strain on our Mother Earth. New Delhi. A Mumbai resident, Raphael Samuel, age 27, plans to take his parents to court for giving birth to him without his consent. I don't know what world is this guy living in where you can give pre-birth consent? In some other universe, before you're born, you can give consent? There's paperwork over there? I don't understand what this is. I agree with... I'm a proponent of being child-free, personally. Obviously, I've had a vasectomy. I believe in this shit. But I'm not so unreasonable that I would sue my goddamn parents for birthing me, because I'm a jerk. Oh, man. I love my parents. We have a great relationship. But they had me for their joy and their pleasure. My life has been amazing, but I don't see why I should put another life through the rigmarole of school and finding a career, especially when they didn't even ask to exist. There is a term for the belief that this guy Samuel holds. It's called antinatalism. Antinatalists like Samuel don't have a negative disposition towards children or life. Well, it sounds like they do. But simply believe life, which has not given its consent to live, should not be brought into the world. In other words, if a child has not agreed to be born and thus to be the subject to life's difficulties, one doesn't have the right to give birth to it. Other Indian people must know that this is an option not to have children, and to ask your parents for an explanation as to why they gave birth to you, Samuel said. Sure, you should ask your parents why they gave birth to you. And I would imagine that a lot of times the reason that someone gave birth comes from ego, which is one of the reasons. It's a principle. It's what's led for me to have a vasectomy, because I think there's only one instance in which having children doesn't come from ego. And we can get into that later. That's a whole separate discussion. But yeah, so ask your parents, why did they have you? You know, I was pretty much an accident myself. I was a product of teenagers, pretty much. Voluntary Human Extinction Movement. Samuel is part of a growing tribe of child-free proponents who sometimes also call themselves Voluntary Human Extinction Movement, or VHEM activists. Has anyone heard of this? I've never heard of this before. They believe children should not be brought into the world. Okay. Although small in number, the movement, which is nicknamed Stop Making Babies, has big dreams to set up a national level organization that works on spreading awareness about child-free living. Okay. I mean, I'm into it. I think this is a good cause. I think your reasoning behind it is a little weird, where you to say that you should only be able to come into the world if you agreed to it is a little pathological, I think. I think it's a sign of a misunderstanding on how life works and where babies come from, where life comes from. But your end goal, which is to raise awareness about not having babies, I think is admirable, in my opinion. At the forefront of the movement is someone named Pratima, an engineering graduate based in a place that I can't pronounce. Pratima is young, age 28, and committed to never having children. This is completely voluntary, non-violent movement. We don't want to impose our beliefs on anyone, but more people need to consider why having a baby in the world right now isn't right. Sure. I agree. But don't say things like, you can also sue your parents because you did not agree to be born. Because that just taints your mission, in my opinion. Like, you're just making your organization look a little bit crazy. Just stick with the let's save the planet and not make a baby argument. All right, and I think you'll be a lot safer. I think people will be more inclined to give money to your organization and to join your organization if you take out the crazy, you know. Like, let's not go full on Manson and start killing our parents because we didn't ask to be born. There are plenty of reasons to join this movement, says this person, from not succumbing to societal pressure to reproduce, to easing the strain on Earth's resources. Plus, there are plenty of children in need of adoption. Absolutely, I agree with all of these things. Child-free advocates have set up their own social media pages, some of which have gained traction. Samuel has an anti-natalist page, and it's followed by nearly 400 people. What is that? Is that traction to you? Article. Pratima's Child-Free India has nearly 100 followers. What? This isn't a movement. In truth, young urban Indians have been choosing not to have children for some years now, despite the stigma attached to it. But India's emerging child-free movement seeks to ease the burden of that choice on individuals and couples by providing solidarity and support while also advocating the end of procreation to, quote, save the earth. The gathering will hold its first national meeting on February 10th in Bengaluru, where it will decide what shape the movement will take. Well, I have a suggestion for you. Movement, take a more reasonable shape and take out some of the crazy, and you'll be good. And there's no surprise that this movement comes out of India. This is a very overpopulated place. Speaking to friends of mine who have been to some of the major metropoli in India, they, you know, and one particular friend of mine, we lived together in New York City, and he's been to Hong Kong, he's been everywhere. He was like, there was no more crowded place that I've ever seen in my life than India. It was shocking. It was like you had to step out and go back to your hotel room and just like take a breath because it was just too many people. It was just crazy. So it's pretty. So it's natural that a movement like this would come out of a place like India. And what do you guys think of this though? What do you think of this anti-child? Are you ready to join the anti-child movement with Jonesy? Are you ready to go out there and get vasectomies? Come on, guys. Let's go. Let's save the planet together. Me and you. I'm out of my mind. I realize that. You don't need to go with me on any of these things. In fact, you may disagree with me. You may say, hey, Jonesy, no, we need more people on this planet. Having children is something we should be high-fiving over. We're not running out of clean water. No, that's not what's happening. The food isn't tainted. All the food is poison. All the food is poison. Carrots, poison. Celery, poison. Chicken pot pie, poison.